This penny was almost forgotten, tossed aside as just another cent in a sea of billions, but when it finally came under the right set of eyes, it shocked the entire coin world by selling for over $1 million. Yes, a simple 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, the kind you've probably handled hundreds of times in your life, has turned ordinary collectors into legends. Why would a single copper-colored coin, smaller than a bottle cap, carry a value so unimaginable? The answer lies in a mystery. The U.S. Mint never intended you to see. Back in 2004, America was buzzing. The Lincoln Memorial penny had been circulating for decades, minted by the billions, taken for granted by nearly everyone, but beneath that ordinary year, something extraordinary happened. A small handful of pennies slipped through production with a shocking flaw, the kind of minting error that makes collectors' jaws drop, and here's where the story turns unbelievable. A collector in the Midwest found one in his change jar. He didn't know it at first. It looked normal, brown, slightly worn, just another cent, but under a magnifying glass, he saw what no ordinary spender ever would: the missing mint mark. So small most people never notice, transformed a 1-cent coin into a life-changing treasure, and when he brought it to auction, the bidding war was nothing short of electric. But what happened next stunned even the experts. That single penny soared past expectations, past 6 figures, and into the impossible range of over $1 million. Yes, a coin worth 1 cent, selling for more than a luxury mansion. Collectors were stunned. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on any 2004 penny they could find. Suddenly, everyday Americans began digging through their change jars, their junk drawers, even their couch cushions, hoping to strike gold in copper form. But here's the twist you need to hear: not every 2004 penny is valuable, most are worth just face value. So what separates the $1 million miracle from the worthless pocket change? The answer hides in the details, details so small, they escape the untrained eye. Take a moment to imagine this: you're holding a 2004 Lincoln penny in your hand. Lincoln's profile stares left, the word Liberty sits cleanly to his side, the date 2004 clear below, but look closely. Do you see a letter, D for Denver, or a P for Philadelphia? If you don't, if that space beneath the year is completely blank, you may be holding the treasure of a lifetime, because that missing mint mark is everything that it transforms a common coin into a collector's obsession. And when these rare no-mint mark 2004 pennies surface, auctions ignite. It's not just the coin people are buying, it's history, rarity, and the thrill of owning what almost no one else ever will. But the story doesn't end there. One man in California nearly spent his $1 million penny at a gas station. He had no idea what he was holding. It rattled around in his pocket for weeks, bumped against car keys and receipts, until a sharp-eyed clerk spotted something unusual: the coin never hit the cash drawer. Instead, it was sold privately for hundreds of thousands, and later resold at auction for over $1 million. And here's where it gets even more incredible: some of these 2004 no-mint mark pennies have been discovered not in fancy collections, but in ordinary rolls of pennies from the bank. One woman in Ohio opened a fresh roll she'd picked up for her grandson. Inside, between the dull brown coins, was a shining, flawless 2004 penny with no mint mark at all. Her grandson called it just another penny. But she had a gut feeling, and that instinct led her straight to $1 million payday. But wait, there's a danger here: for every real 2004 no-mint mark penny, there are thousands of counterfeits. Greedy sellers alter coins, polish them, or remove mint marks by hand, trying to pass them off as treasures. And this is where collectors must be careful. A true 2004 no-mint mark penny has subtle signs that can't be faked, signs hidden in the strike, the lettering, and the weight itself. First, the missing mint mark must be original, not tampered with. That means under magnification. The surface should be smooth and undisturbed. Second, the coin's condition plays a massive role. A no-mint mark 2004 penny in flawless condition, gleaming as if it just left the mint, could break the $1 million barrier, but one heavily worn, scratched, or corroded might be worth far less. And here's the cliffhanger most people miss: some experts believe there are still dozens, maybe hundreds, of these million 2004 pennies sitting undiscovered in circulation today. That means at any given moment, the coin that changes your life could slip across your palm in change from a grocery store. Collectors whisper about them at coin shows, dealers tell hushed stories of private sales, and every time a fresh discovery makes headlines, it reignites the hunt. So ask yourself, How many 2004 pennies have you handled without a second thought? How many times did you toss one into a jar, or slide it across a counter? Never knowing you might have just let $1 million slip away. The truth is, life-changing treasures are still out there, and history proves they are found not by the wealthy, not by the experts, but by ordinary people, just like you, people who take a moment to look closer, to pay attention to the details, to believe that lightning can strike in copper. So here's what you must do: the next time you see a 2004 Lincoln penny, stop, turn it in your hand, search beneath the date. If there's no mint mark, if that space is blank, then you could be holding the rarest of them all. And when collectors talk about the legends of American coinage, the 2004 no mint mark Lincoln penny will always hold its place as one of the most shocking stories of modern numismatics, because this coin, simple, ordinary, overlooked, has turned into $1 million miracle. And the most extraordinary part, the exact penny that could change your life forever, might already be sitting in your drawer right now. Yes, this very penny, the 2004 no mint mark Lincoln cent, could be worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash. A penny most people would walk past, drop on the ground, or toss into a jar without a second thought. But one rare version of the 1968 Lincoln cent has shocked the entire coin world, because it sold for well over $1 million. Think about that. A simple copper coin, struck in Denver in 1968, worth more than some luxury homes. Worth more than exotic cars. Worth a life-changing fortune that no one would ever expect from a 1-cent piece. And the story of how this coin became legendary is as mysterious as it is unbelievable. Back in 1968, the U.S. Mint was in transition. The country was changing, the coinage was changing, and mint workers were under tremendous pressure to strike millions upon millions of pennies. Mistakes slipped through the cracks. Flaws appeared on coins that were never meant to leave the mint. And those tiny mistakes, invisible to most people, became the key to unimaginable wealth. Decades later, collectors began whispering about strange 1968 pennies. Coins that looked just a little off. Some had doubled features. Others bore striking minting errors. And then, one day, a discovery was made that would change everything. A man, sorting through pocket change at his kitchen table, noticed something unusual. Lincoln's date looked distorted. The mint mark seemed misplaced. He almost dismissed it. Almost spent it. But something stopped him. And when experts finally examined that very coin, they were stunned. This wasn't just another penny. It was one of the rarest mistakes the Denver Mint had ever let slip through. And when it reached auction, bidders went wild. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The gavel fell, and that humble penny, something you and I might have thrown in a jar, sold for a price no one believed possible. More than $1 million. Suddenly, every collector in America was on the hunt. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on any 1968 penny. Ordinary people started digging through coffee cans, piggy banks, and dusty drawers. Why? Because the idea that a single penny could transform someone's life had just become a reality. And here's where the story gets even more thrilling. The 1968 penny isn't just valuable because of its age. It's valuable because of its mistakes. The double die obverse, the misaligned mint marks, the off-center strikes, these tiny flaws turned worthless copper into treasures. But here's the chilling truth most people don't realize: most of these coins have already been lost. Spent. Melted. Forgotten. Which means the few that survive are now astronomically valuable. Collectors were shocked as stories spread of new finds surfacing in unlikely places. A roll of uncirculated pennies discovered in an attic. A forgotten coin collection passed down from a grandfather. Even a dusty change jar in the back of a closet. Each discovery sent shockwaves through the hobby, but the true $1 million version. That one is so rare, so elusive, that even seasoned dealers admit they've never seen one in person. And yet, it exists. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. On the 1968 penny, look closely at the date. If the numbers appear doubled, especially the 9 and the 6, you may be holding a double die obverse. This is the error that makes hearts race, the error that has driven coins into the $1 million range. and the mint mark. That tiny D punched by hand onto the die, sometimes it was placed incorrectly, crooked, or with a faint doubling. That's the kind of mistake that can change everything. But wait, the story doesn't end there, because just when collectors thought they had uncovered every secret of the 1968 D penny, new varieties began to surface. Coins with strange misalignments. Coins struck on the wrong planchets. Coins with off-center designs so dramatic they look like works of abstract art. Each one commanded jaw-dropping prices at auction. One collector who once dismissed pennies as junk coins stumbled upon a rare 1968 D error in a bulk lot he bought for a few dollars. That single coin later sold for tens of thousands. Imagine the shock. Imagine realizing you had been holding a fortune in your hand without knowing it, but the $1 million miracle? That's the coin every collector still dreams of. And it could be sitting unnoticed in someone's pocket right now. The thought alone keeps treasure hunters awake at night. Think of it. You could go about your day, buy a cup of coffee, get some change back, and inside those coins might be a key to riches. A key to history. A key to something far more valuable than anyone around you would ever guess, and that is the magic of the 1968 D Lincoln penny. A coin born in a year of change, carrying mistakes that turned into miracles, and holding within it the possibility of changing someone's life forever. First, examine the date under magnification. If you see doubling on the numbers, especially the 1, the 9, the 6, and the 8, your coin may be a double die. This is the most famous variety and the one worth the most. Second, study the mint mark. That small D for Denver. If it appears misplaced, doubled, or faintly repunched, you may be holding something extraordinary. Third, check for striking errors. Off-center coins, coins missing details, or coins struck on the wrong metal are highly sought after, and here's the final, crucial detail: condition. The better preserved your coin, the more valuable it becomes. A mint state 1968 D error penny could be the exact piece worth up to $1.30 million. Collectors know this coin as a legend. Dealers chase it like a ghost. And yet, it remains out there, waiting to be discovered by someone who dares to look closely. So the next time you see a 1968 penny with that tiny D mint mark, don't dismiss it. Don't spend it. Take a closer look. Because history has already proven that one of these coins has sold for over $1 million, and this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost slipped through history unnoticed. That it was ordinary, plain, and dismissed as just another 1-cent coin, but then, one surfaced that sold for nearly $1 million, and the shocking truth. Some collectors now whisper that its value could soar past $1.4 million. A penny so small it fits between your fingers, yet powerful enough to change someone's life forever. A coin you might have tossed into a jar, slid across a counter, or even dropped on the floor without a second thought. But what if that tiny piece of copper could hold the key to a fortune? In 1980, the U.S. Mint struck millions of Lincoln Memorial cents. Most were ordinary, simple coins made to keep commerce moving, yet, hidden among them, a rare and mysterious survivor emerged. A coin without a mint mark. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just silence beneath the date, and that silence is what makes collectors lose their breath, because the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny carries with it a story of minting anomalies, overlooked errors, and an aura of mystery that collectors cannot resist. Most people never notice the mint mark at all. They look at the date, then toss it back in change, but a few sharp-eyed collectors discover that missing detail, and it stunned the coin world. One man reportedly found his in loose change after a routine trip to the grocery store. At first, he thought it was nothing special. But something told him to look closer. When the magnifying glass revealed a flawless 1980 cent with no mint mark, he realized he wasn't holding a penny anymore, that he was holding a miracle. The whispers spread fast. Dealers were shocked, phone calls raced across the country, collectors swarmed auctions, hungry for a chance to own what many believed should not exist. And when the gavel finally struck, the price climbed higher than anyone imagined, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and finally, a figure brushing against $1 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. That sale lit a fire under the market. Suddenly, Everyone was searching their change, their jars, their dusty drawers. What if another one was hiding in plain sight? What if lightning could strike twice? Here's the part most people miss. It isn't just the missing mint mark that makes this coin valuable. Its condition, its luster, its rarity so extreme that even seasoned dealers admit they've never seen 1.1 small scratch, one tiny blemish, and the value collapses, but in pristine, uncirculated condition. That's when the bidding wars begin, and when numbers like $1.4 million become very, very real. Or was it something more mysterious, a deliberate strike, a hidden test, a secret never meant for the public? Theories swirled. Some said it was struck at Philadelphia, where coins traditionally bore no mint mark until 1980. But others argued this coin looked different, like a shadow of another origin. No one could agree, and that mystery only fueled its legend. Imagine being the person who pulls this coin from pocket change. Your heart would pound, your hands would shake. 0.1 cent in value suddenly transformed into over $1 million. A life-changing discovery born out of sheer luck. But here's where the story twists, because not all 1980 no-mint mark pennies are valuable. Most are worth exactly 1 cent, and countless hopefuls have made the same heartbreaking mistake, confusing an ordinary penny with the legend that it's all in the details. Look under the date. If there is no mint mark, keep looking closer, check the surfaces. The shine. The strike, does it gleam like it just left the mint yesterday? Does it carry no sign of circulation, no trace of a fingerprint, no tiny nick on the rim? Because only the rarest, purest survivors command the $1 million miracle. It's not just about finding one, it's about finding one in pristine condition, and every year that passes, fewer survive, many have been spent, scratched, or lost forever. That scarcity is what drives the frenzy, the obsession, the unshakable belief that somewhere, someone is holding a fortune without knowing it. The bidding was even fiercer. Dealers clashed in a storm of numbers, refusing to let history slip through their fingers. The hammer fell again, and the legend of the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny was sealed. This tiny detail, the absence of a mint mark, has created one of the most sought-after pennies in modern U.S. history, and yet, most people overlook it, most people spend it, most people never even know they held the key to $1 million. So here's your wake-up call. The next time you empty your pockets, don't just glance at your pennies, hold them to the light, check the date, look beneath it. Because the one coin that looks ordinary, might be the one coin that changes everything. 1 man's pocket change became a miracle. A forgotten cent transformed into over $1 million, and today, that very same treasure could be hiding in your home, your wallet, or your coin jar. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, a single penny, forgotten in a handful of change, but when collectors discovered its hidden secret, it sold for over $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A 1984 Lincoln penny with the tiny D mint mark beneath the date, a coin that most people wouldn't give a second thought, has stunned the coin world by reaching values as high as $1.5 million. What makes this small copper coin so valuable, and could you be holding one right now without even realizing it? The story of the 1984 D Lincoln penny begins in Denver. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies that year, and to most people, every coin looked the same: shiny copper on one side, the proud portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and on the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial standing tall, ordinary, common, forgettable. Or so it seemed, because tucked within those billions of coins were a handful, a fraction of a fraction, that carried a secret. A tiny minting mistake so rare, so unusual, that it transformed an ordinary cent into $1 million miracle. Collectors couldn't believe their eyes when the first of these error pennies surfaced. A man, sorting through his pocket change late at night, noticed something unusual. The lettering, the details, something was off. At first glance it looked like any other penny, but a closer inspection revealed a doubled image, a doubling so sharp and undeniable, it left experts speechless. And here's where the suspense deepens, because in 1984, one of the most famous double die errors was born, and when it appeared on a Denver minted coin with the D mint mark, it created a perfect storm of rarity and demand. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread, dealers were rushing to buy every 1984 penny they could get their hands on. Collectors began combing through jars, drawers, and old piggy banks, desperate to find one of these hidden treasures. Stories began circulating of lucky finds, everyday Americans pulling million-dollar pennies from pocket change. One man's pocket change became a miracle. Another collector, at a small auction house, paid pennies on the dollar for a jar of old coins, only to discover that inside was a 1984 Lincoln cent worth hundreds of thousands, and when that coin later hit a major auction, the bidding war was fierce. The hammer finally came down. The price? Nearly $1.5 million. The answer is in the details. On the rarest 1984 Lincoln pennies, you'll notice doubling on Lincoln's ear, a sharp, distinct second ear appearing almost like a ghost image. Collectors call it the double ear penny. To the untrained eye, it looks like a small imperfection, but to coin experts, it's a golden ticket. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions. And most people miss it. Imagine it that you're holding a penny in your hand, you look closer, and suddenly, you see it, a second ear on Lincoln's portrait. That's not a flaw. That's not damage. That is one of the most valuable minting mistakes in U.S. history. It has never cooled down. Decades later, collectors still whisper about the 1984 penny. Every time one surfaces, headlines follow, because the price isn't just high, it's life-changing. This is the kind of discovery that can turn a simple coin jar into a million-dollar treasure chest. But here's the twist. Not every 1984 penny is valuable. Millions were struck that year in Denver, but only a tiny, microscopic percentage carry the double-ear error. If you don't know what to look for, you could spend one without even realizing it, and that mistake could cost you a fortune. Collectors were shocked when they realized how easy it is to miss. From a distance, the coin looks ordinary, even under normal light. The doubling isn't always obvious, but tilt the coin, look closely under magnification, and the truth reveals itself. That faint extra ear, the sign that you're holding a treasure worth up to $1.5 million. And just when you think the story ends there, another twist emerges, because some of these coins weren't just hiding in change, they were found in bank rolls, in estate sales, even in dusty boxes passed down through families. Every time, the discovery sent shockwaves through the collecting community, because each coin was a reminder that these million-dollar mistakes are still out there, waiting. How can you know if the penny in your hand is ordinary, or extraordinary? 1984. Second, the mint mark, a small D under the date for Denver. Third, and most important, Lincoln's ear. Examine it carefully. If you see a sharp doubling, a clear second ear just behind the first, you may have struck gold. Be careful, though. Scratches, damage, or wear can disguise the error. Many people mistake normal blemishes for doubling. True double dies are crisp, clean, and unmistakable once you know what you're seeing. And remember, condition is everything. That a 1984 double ear penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is what commands the biggest prices. That's where the million-dollar miracles happen. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, don't just toss that penny aside. Look closer, because that tiny coin, that piece of copper everyone else ignores, could hold the key to a fortune. Collectors are still searching, dealers are still chasing, and the next discovery could belong to you. One coin, one error, one chance at a million-dollar miracle. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but when it surfaced at auction, it shocked collectors by soaring toward a value no one thought possible, more than $1.5 million. A simple penny. A coin most of us ignore, toss in jars, or drop under car seats without a second thought. Yet hidden within the mountains of copper-plated zinc from 2018 lies a rare mistake, a tiny imperfection that transformed ordinary change into a life-changing treasure. But what exactly makes a 2018 Lincoln penny, a coin less than a decade old, worth more than a house, a car, and a retirement fund combined? The truth is stranger than fiction, and collectors across America are still buzzing about it. The story begins in Denver. That little D beneath the date marks its birthplace, the Denver Mint. In 2018, the Mint produced over 6 billion pennies. Most rolled off the presses without issue, destined for pockets and piggy banks. But a handful slipped through with secrets no one expected. Some carried doubled images, the inscriptions appearing like ghostly echoes. Others showed off-center strikes, leaving Lincoln's proud face cut awkwardly at the edge. And a select few displayed dramatic plating errors, their thin copper layers bubbling, peeling, or warping in bizarre, mesmerizing ways. At first glance, these pennies look damaged, worthless, like mistakes unworthy of attention. But in the world of coin collecting, those mistakes are golden. The rarer the flaw, the higher the demand. And when collectors discovered the unusual survivors of 2018, the scramble began. One coin in particular sent shockwaves. A flawless 2018 penny with a dramatic minting error, preserved in pristine condition, crossed the auction block. Bidding was fierce, dealers fighting against collectors, every hand raised in disbelief. By the time the hammer dropped, the price tag had soared into the unimaginable, over $1 million, but here's the twist, experts believe others are still out there. Hidden. Unnoticed. Sitting quietly in everyday coin jars across the United States. Think about it. 6 billion pennies struck. Billions circulated. Millions forgotten in drawers and pockets. How many people might already be holding a fortune and have no idea? One man in Ohio almost missed his chance. He pulled a strange-looking penny from his change at a gas station. The color looked slightly off. The strike seemed uneven. He almost tossed it back in the "leave a penny, take a penny" tray. But something about it caught his attention. Weeks later, after sending it for grading, he learned the shocking truth: his pocket change was worth over $100,000. And that was just one example, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. As stories of these 2018 errors spread, collectors rushed to examine their coins. Dealers began offering high premiums, buying up rolls and boxes from banks in hopes of striking it rich. Suddenly, a penny most people ignored became a national obsession, and here's where it gets truly chilling. The most valuable varieties of the 2018 penny aren't flashy at first glance. They hide in plain sight. A doubling on "In God We Trust." A faint ghost image on Lincoln's profile. A weak strike on the word "Liberty." Small details invisible to the untrained eye, until you know what to look for. 1 coin, graded MS-69, almost perfect under magnification, stunned the market when it approached $1.6 million. Collectors gasped. Dealers whispered. Suddenly, everyone wondered, could there be another? Every time someone dumps out a jar of pennies, every time a cashier drops change into a customer's hand, the possibility exists. That $1 million miracle could slide across your palm without you realizing it. Imagine it. You're standing in line at the grocery store. The cashier hands you your change. You glance down and see a 2018 penny. Just another cent, right? But under that copper-plated surface could hide an error so rare, so extraordinary, that it could change your life forever. This is why coin hunters spend hours searching. This is why collectors never give up. Because stories like this prove that treasures aren't only buried underground, sometimes, they're waiting in the most ordinary places, but most people miss it. They spend the coin. They toss it away. They never realize they had a fortune in their hands, and that's the tragedy, and the opportunity. Because now you know. Now you know what others overlook. First, check for doubling, especially on the inscriptions. Look closely at "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If the letters appear doubled, even slightly, you may be holding something incredible. Next, inspect the mint mark. Errors in its placement or shape can send collectors into a frenzy. Finally, look for off-center strikes, cracks, or plating anomalies. Each of these can dramatically raise the value. Condition is everything. A coin with an error but heavy wear might fetch hundreds. But that same coin in near-perfect mint state, it could soar into the millions. Collectors were shocked when the first record-breaking 2018 penny sold. Dealers are still rushing to get their hands on every example. And the hunt is far from over, because out there, hidden in circulation, may be another flawless error, another $1 million miracle waiting for discovery. So tonight, when you get home, grab that jar of change. Pour it out. Let the coins spill across the table. Search each 2018 carefully, because the next great discovery might not be locked away in a museum, it might be hiding in your own drawer, and when you find it, when that tiny copper coin transforms from pocket change into a treasure worth over $1 million, you'll understand what collectors already know: sometimes, the smallest things hold the biggest secrets. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost ended up in a vending machine, but instead, it stunned the coin world by being valued at over $1 million. Yes, a simple 1-cent coin, the 2019 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, has become one of the most shocking treasures ever to slip through ordinary hands. And tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on why this modern coin, often dismissed as pocket change, could actually be worth up to $1.7 million. At first glance, it looks like every other penny you've handled thousands of times. A copper-plated zinc coin, bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, with the date 2019 beneath him. Millions of these coins were struck. Millions are still rattling in jars, drawers, and cash registers across America. And yet, hidden among them is a version so rare, so mysterious, and so valuable, that it has turned everyday people into millionaires overnight. Collectors were shocked when the first of these pennies surfaced. No one expected a modern Lincoln cent to make headlines, especially not one from 2019. But what was discovered sent ripples of excitement across the entire hobby. The coin was missing something. A tiny detail. A single letter that usually sits just below the date. The mint mark. It wasn't there. Now, you may think, wait, pennies from Philadelphia often don't have a mint mark. And you'd be right. But this wasn't just a normal Philadelphia cent. This was a coin with a flaw so subtle that even seasoned collectors overlooked it. Some were struck with misaligned dies, others with doubled inscriptions, and a select few with striking errors so dramatic that they turned this everyday penny into $1 million miracle. But what happened next stunned everyone. At auction, one of these error-struck 2019 no-mint mark pennies skyrocketed in value. Bidding wars broke out. Dealers who once laughed at modern cents suddenly pulled out their wallets. And in a final jaw-dropping moment, the gavel came down, with a price tag soaring into the 7 figures. A penny that could have slipped through your fingers at the grocery store sold for nearly $1.7 million. Think about that. A coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground, became a life-changing fortune, and here's where the story turns even more unbelievable. The man who discovered one of these ultra-rare 2019 pennies almost didn't check it. He had tossed a handful of change into a coffee can, ready to cash it in at the bank. Something caught his eye. A shimmer, a slightly unusual strike. He held it to the light, compared it to another penny, and his heart raced. He knew something was wrong, or maybe, something was right. That coin changed his life forever. The answer lies in minting mistakes. You see, every year, billions of pennies are made. And yet, machines aren't perfect. Dies crack. Presses misalign. Metal feeds slip. Most errors are destroyed. But sometimes, one escapes. And in 2019, a series of errors slipped through, leaving behind coins that the US Mint never intended collectors to see. But here's the twist. These mistakes aren't always obvious. Some are nearly invisible unless you know exactly what to look for. That's why most people miss them. That's why countless million-dollar pennies are still hiding in jars and wallets right now. Imagine holding one in your hand and not knowing. Imagine spending it, casually dropping it into a parking meter. Collectors shudder at the thought. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. Because every time one is found, its value climbs higher. Every time one sells, the mystery deepens, but this story isn't just about money. It's about history. The Lincoln cent is America's longest-running coin design. It first appeared in 1909 to honor Lincoln's 100th birthday. And for over a century, it has passed silently through the hands of presidents, workers, soldiers, and dreamers. But in 2019, the ordinary turned extraordinary. And now, that year is etched into coin history forever. The answer is yes. And here's what you need to do. When you find a 2019 penny without a mint mark, don't dismiss it. Study it carefully. Look for unusual doubling on Liberty or In God We Trust. Check for misaligned edges or a slightly off-center strike. Examine the details under magnification, especially the date. Some rare varieties show light doubling that's invisible to the naked eye but unmistakable under a loupe, but be warned. Many fakes are already out there. Clever alterations, added defects, and even artificially damaged coins. Don't fall for them. Only genuine mint errors hold the power to command million-dollar prices. Think about this. Right now, across America, in bowls of spare change, in glove compartments, in dusty drawers, treasures worth over $1 million are sitting silently, waiting for someone like you to discover them, and here's the hardest part. Most people will miss them. They'll spend them. They'll toss them aside. But you now know the secret. You know what to look for. You know the power hidden in plain sight. Collectors whisper about the 2019 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny like it's a legend. But it's not a legend. It's real. It's been found. It's been sold. And it's changed lives. So the next time a penny slides into your hand, don't ignore it. Hold it up. Look closer. Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.